Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and why exactly do poor people buy the luxury vehicles, the BMWs, the Mercedes, the Lexuses, while, for example, the rich people actually go ahead and buy, for example, the Toyotas, the Hondas, and the Mazdas, right? Why does that happen? And by the way, I was watching my favorite creator on YouTube. His name is Scotty Kilmer, okay? And he's the person that actually helped me buy my first car ever. And by the way, my first car ever went from a budget of $5,000 to $20,000. But finally, Scotty actually talked me down to actually buying a $9,000 very good car. I'm going to reveal it very soon. However, before we start, I want to tell you guys a pretty fact that I'm pretty sure you guys actually don't know about, okay? Now, there was this very old rich guy. When I say rich, I mean rich. And he drove around a truck, a pickup truck. And he had a dog and a rifle. Meaning, for example, this very rich guy just went out duck hunting, went out fishing with his dog and everything else. And whenever he was done fishing, he threw the fish in the back of the pickup truck, the ducks in the back of the pickup truck, everything in the back of the pickup truck, okay? However, though, when you're rich and you have, for example, rich friends and associates and so on, well, he had friends that are just at a different level when it comes to giving someone a gift. So this old rich guy, it was his birthday, about to come, and one of his friends or people he actually knew decided to actually buy him, surprise him, with a Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce, a $400,000 to $600,000 vehicle. Well, the old rich guy found out, asked for it to be canceled because he didn't want the vehicle. Why? Because basically he wasn't into lookability, he was into practicality. Can't say that word, okay? Practicality, practical, practical things, okay? He wanted to have something that was actually practical and not just about look. He said, if I got a Rolls Royce, I can't put my dog there, I can't put my fish there, my ducks there. What would my employees think of me rolling into the driveway of my business with a Rolls Royce while they're coming in with Hondas and Toyotas? That's why he said no. So if an old rich guy, and by the way, that old rich guy just owns a small company. That company is called Walmart and makes around $909 million per day. That guy's name was actually Sam Walton. And this right here is a true story, not a fake story. So if an old rich guy that is a billionaire can just have, for example, a pickup truck, an old one, a used one, why can't you go ahead and buy that also, right? So the point of this video is to tell you, hey, so here's why buying used is actually a good idea. And also here's why actually poor people go ahead and buy the Mercedes, the Lexuses, and all the other fancy vehicles at BMW that cost a fortune to actually fixed. Now, if you guys are new here, I post videos on YouTube on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So make sure to also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified. Most importantly, smash the like button because it helps a lot with the videos and the channel to actually spread the videos around, okay? So thank you guys so much by doing your part by smashing and destroying the like button. Now, the very first thing I want to talk about is basically, Tommy, what are the benefits of buying a used vehicle? And by the way, you're not alone here. I came very close to spending a bunch of money on a used vehicle for like $20,000. Or for example, almost buying a new vehicle because basically everyone told me, hey, don't buy a used vehicle. They have problems. Buy new. That way you're done, okay? That way everything's a very stupid idea, okay? Here are the benefits though to actually owning a used vehicle. The first benefit is going to be, well, guess what? You don't have to have a monthly payment. So, meaning, for example, if you buy a used vehicle, by the way, I mean $500, $1,000, $2,000, and you might say, Tommy, are you crazy? I'm not gonna drive around in that. Well, Scotty, the guy I told you about with his YouTube channel, well, he's actually worth around a little over $10 million, and he has never spent more in over 30 years of driving more than a total of $7,500 on cars. Not, by the way, like my budget is $7,500. No, all the cars he bought combined, put together, do not exceed $7,500. Also, Dave Ramsey, his first cars, guess what? They were hoopties, $1,500. They broke down, yes, but guess what? Now the guy's also a millionaire. Also, my first car, it only cost around $9,000. It wasn't a Mercedes, it wasn't a BMW or a Lexus. So again, you don't need to buy these fancy cars. And guess what? They buy them for cash. I bought my car also for cash. So that means you don't have a monthly payment to actually worry about. That is your car. No one can take it away from you. Now, for all those people that tell me, Tammy, that's so stupid, I'd rather have a lease and pay $300 every single month for like 20 years. The answer is, well, guess what? 20 years of doing that, that's around $220,000 you're actually leaving on the table. The answer is that is a very stupid idea. You're better off just buying, for example, a used beater car and use that for a while. Again, the car takes you from point A to point B. Stop trying to impress people that you don't care about. And top secret, they don't care about you either. And someone cares about you based on the car you drive, you might not want to be friends with that person, okay? Now, the second reason why you want to buy used, okay? The best reason here is called depreciation. As you guys know, there is only one thing guaranteed about buying a car, that the price is going to fall, because you are buying, my friends, a liability, which basically means during the first 3 to 5 years, you have the biggest depreciation ever. Depreciation basically means the value or the price goes down like crazy, okay? So for example, the first 3 to 5 years of a car's life is going to go down by around 50% or so. Meaning if I bought a car for $30,000, by year 5, it'll be worth around $15,000. Now, this means that if you buy a used vehicle that's 3 to 5 years old, well, you're buying it when most of the depreciation has already happened. So now you get to ride around in this $15,000 vehicle, and when you do get to sell it, you can sell it for a good price and not for a 50% discount. And notice, for example, 5 years is 60 payments, usually when the average person is done with their car. So they bought a new car, but now it's been 5 years and that car is worth, for example, 50% less, plus they paid a whole bunch of interest on it. It's crazy. So buying used also helps you as far as depreciation. Number 3, guys, this right here is one of my favorite things, you know? Actually, when you're buying used vehicles, cheap vehicles, you got to buy more than one. You know, a lot of people, they're looking for the perfect car. Tommy, I want a car to go to work, but I can also take it, for example, on the mountains and do whatever I want to do, like fishing, a pickup truck kind of stuff. Well, in reality, for buying a used vehicle, like I want to go from point A to point B, work side, well, guess what? I can buy a $2,000 Toyota, boom, got it. But I can also buy, for example, a $2,000 like pickup truck, and now I can go fishing, do whatever else you want to do. So when you're actually buying used and cheap, you have more options, which basically means instead of buying a $30,000 vehicle that can do multiple things in a way, you can buy a few vehicles for a fraction of the price. And although you might not be Mayweather with like 10, 20 cars that are all black, well, guess what? You'll have a few cars here and there. We can do whatever you want to do. Hey, I want to have a little sporty one. That one cost me $3,000. I want to have one to just get to work. That's $2,000. I want to have one when I actually want to go, for example, on road trips. That one cost me $2,000. No more than $7,000, and boom, I'm still flossing out here, right? I'm still looking pretty cool with my 3 cars. Okay, that's not my case, by the way. But if I did want that, I would do that. I wouldn't go ahead and buy this $50,000 F-150, none of that stuff. It's just ridiculous. Don't do it. It's stupid. Now, the 4th benefit is, guys, okay, parts and maintenance. Now, there is this crazy concept out there where people say, hey, buying a new car is better than a used car because basically you're not going to have any issues. However, I've never met someone that bought a new car and the car stayed new forever. It just doesn't happen. It's going to become used. So if a used car doesn't work, why buy a new car because it's going to become used? It means that the cars are just not reliable whatsoever. Doesn't it mean that, right? Hello? Doesn't it mean that? So in reality, it's just fake news. It's just a way to justify you buying, for example, a new car that you can't afford. And stop buying things based on the monthly payment and being able to afford that and not being able to afford, for example, the MSRP price, the actual price of the car. I can afford $280 a month, but you can't afford a $30,000 car. So just don't do it, okay? So overall, when you're buying a used car, guess what? The parts are cheaper. After 5 years of the car actually being on the road, you have a lot of third-party manufacturers that actually create parts for these cars that actually do great, but guess what? You can actually buy them for a fraction of the price. So basically, maintenance and also, for example, reliability is a lot better. Because I can tell you how a 5-year-old car actually works if it's reliable, but I can't tell you how the new model is actually going to work with the new fancy engine and everything else, right? So reliability on a used car that's been time tested is going to also help you out a ton. And by the way, don't forget, a car is a liability, it is equipment, and guess what happens when you don't take care of equipment? It breaks down. So make sure to get its maintenance done. Check the tire pressure, take it to the mechanic every now and then, make sure everything's fine, get its checkups, also the oil changes, everything, make sure it is running good. If you take care of it, it'll last you for a lifetime. That's the point there. Now, the last benefit is basically, I hear this all the time. Tommy, I don't want to buy a used car. Why? Oh, because it doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Google CarPlay, or for example, a backup camera. Don't you know I can't park, bro? I get that, okay? Because I also like having a backup camera in my car, which I do have. But the point is that all those things are add-ons, okay? So if the reason you're going to buy a car is because basically, Tommy, I just love this leather smell, or I just love this backup camera, or I just love the Apple CarPlay, all those things can be bought and basically added to the car. A backup camera can cost you, for example, anywhere from $300 to $500, and also put in, for example, the Apple CarPlay and everything just like that. It won't cost you more than $1,000 for everything. Usually like $400 to $600, depending on the quality of the monitor that you actually want to put in your car. Tommy, I don't know how to install that. The answer is Best Buy or any average mechanic can do this stuff for you. So you don't have to be Scotty Kilmer or any mechanic out there. This stuff can be done for you for a very cheap price. So I'd rather go out there and buy a 2008 car with no backup camera and no Apple CarPlay, but buy it for 50% less than the new car and just spend like $500 and just install those things in it, okay? That's my point. But those right there are the 5 benefits of actually buying a used car. However, though, let's be honest here for a second. I'm pretty sure you already knew this, right? I know this. You know this. Everyone knows this. By this point, it's more like common sense. Saving money on monthly payments, I can invest more. Having cheaper parts, guess what? When it breaks down, I can save more money and all this stuff. We know this stuff, right? But why do you still want to buy a new car? Well, guess what? Because new cars are pretty cool. Having a sports car is pretty cool. So, Tommy, overall, when is it okay? I know this used car stuff is cool, but when is it okay for me to go out there and buy a new car, or for example, a sports car? And by the way, I just found out a week ago that I like fast cars and very nice cars. I like Mercedes. I like sports cars. You know, I got to ride with some of them and stuff like that. But the answer is that's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome to drive those things. But when is it okay to buy them and not feel guilty about it, or basically fracture your whole financial freedom plan for the rest of your life, okay? When is it okay? Well, the answer is all you have to do is just ask yourself these 4 questions, okay? And by the way, guys, okay, last week, I got into a Kia Stinger. Okay? I didn't even know Kia actually made sports car. And that car went from 0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds. And I never thought I cared about that. Trust me, I didn't think I cared about it, but it is so cool. It is so cool, okay? So eventually, I do want to buy that stuff. It's pretty cool. And don't get me wrong, is it just to make me look cool? Maybe, not really. I just like it. It's just cool, right? It's the same reason why you might have somebody buying, for example, a Rolex, or for example, a Apple Watch that tells the time also and does a bunch of other things. However, when is it okay to buy those cars that you actually want, okay? The luxury ones, the Mercedes, the Lexuses, the Rolls Royce, whatever you want to do, right? When is it okay? The answer is I would ask myself these 4 questions, okay? Question 1, am I debt-free? Consumer debt-wise. That means, for example, my student loan debt? Yes. That means, for example, my credit card debt? Yes. Personal loan debt? Yes. So if you are debt-free, great. That's the question first, okay? But if you have a massive amount of debt and you tell me, hey, Tommy, I owe this much money on credit card debt, but what I want to do now is just add, for example, a massive loan, the answer is no. You cannot afford to buy a new car. And by the way, when I say buy a new car or a sports car, I mean for cash. I don't mean financing at all. Second question is, do I have an emergency account? I don't like this idea of I'm going to be driving around this Kia Stinger or whatever I choose to buy, but my family doesn't have an emergency fund. So if I break my leg or I can't make money or I get fired, well, I don't have an emergency fund, but I have a fancy car. The answer is no. You gotta have an emergency fund first. Then third question is, do I have a good amount of money in my investment account? You know, one thing I liked about rappers is this 10% rule that happened to just make up. I don't know where they got it from, but it just exists. And the idea is, when you're gonna buy something like a car or a liability, well, just make sure it's not more than 10% of the money you have in your investment account, or for example, your net worth. So that means, for example, if I have $100K invested, well, 10% of that is $10,000. That's my budget to buy that car I want, but I basically don't need. If I have $1 million, I have $100,000 to go ahead and buy the car I want, and so on and so on. Does that make sense? So in my case, if I want to buy a $30,000 car, I might be able to because I have that much money in my investment account. But if you're telling me, Tommy, I have less than $1,000 in my investment account or my net worth, but I want to go ahead and buy a $30,000 car, that's just stupid off. If the answer is yes, then guess what? You've answered. If the answer is yes, then guess what? You've answered all 4 questions with yes. They're not gonna answer all with yeses. I can't answer all these questions with yeses yet. I don't have a paid for home yet, right? So once all this stuff is luxury car without hesitation, because you have no debt, you have an emergency account, you have a lot of money in your investment account, and on top of that, lastly, you have a paid for home. So I don't care what's in your driveway now. I care that your driveway is actually yours, you're secured, and you're not paying everyone else all your money whenever you get paid. So if you can answer all those questions right there, you're solid, you're good to go. You're good to go. So overall, guys, those are the benefits of buying a used car. But for everyone that still wants to have that new car, well, those are the little to-do list to actually do before you can actually go ahead and afford that new car, okay? Or used car, whatever you want to do, okay? But the fancy car that you want, but you know you shouldn't buy just yet because you're not done with those 4 steps yet. But lastly, some advice here from someone that didn't know anything about a car about a few days ago, but now I do because I bought my first car, is when you're buying your first car, try to buy, for example, between 3 to 5 years old. A lot of depreciation has already happened. Also, don't buy from a dealer, try to buy from a third party. It's just going to be a lot more cheaper. The dealer has to make their profit, their money, they have expenses, all this stuff, but a third party like Facebook, or I bought my car from Facebook, by the way. Facebook is fine. From Facebook or from any car place out there or Craigslist is gonna be a lot better. Second thing is, you're not a mechanic. That's fine. You don't have to understand the car, but take the car to a mechanic to get it fully checked out. When I bought my car, I didn't know anything about a car. So I took it to Advanced Auto Parts. I paid $75 and they did a full-blown examination and told me, hey, Tommy, the car is fine. Everything is good. And I went ahead and I bought the car because they do a whole checkup on the entire thing. Thirdly, the longer you ride the car for, the longer your savings are actually going to be. You know, I got into that Stinger, guys, and instantly I was like, I want that car so bad. It's $30,000. It's so amazing. It's so awesome. However, if I use my car right now, my 2014 car, reveal coming soon, by the way, guess what? I can ride that for 5 to 10 years. I get to save a bunch of money. And guess what? I can do all my steps first. And then when I buy that car that I actually want, I can afford it. That's the idea. Patience is key. But guys, that is the end of the video. Comment down below though and let me know exactly what is your dream car. Be honest, okay? It's fine to have a dream car, but also tell me exactly what car are you going to buy next? Either your first car or your next car. If you have a brand new car, sell that, okay? Makes no sense. Just sell it, cut your losses. It's a great market to sell a car right now. And then just buy a used hoopty. Have a dream of what you want, obviously, but don't do it until you can actually afford it and actually get through all those steps. Imagine me having, for example, a BMW or a Lexus or a Kia Stinger, like parked outside my apartment because I can't afford anything. It makes no sense, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. On top of that, also, if you guys want to call me one-on-one, join me on my third channel called the Ask Me Bryson, where I take calls from Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Schedule a call today for free. The link is down below. Also, follow me on Instagram at TommyBryson. On top of that, also, if you guys want to watch more content like this, here is the video right here, and click my face right here. And as always, peace.